Good evening, because I have to circulate that in my brain that it's evening. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Collective. My name is Michelle Turner, and I am the Collective's host here on WSME Enlightenment Radio. And what we're doing today is talking sports because there's so much going on. And in reality, by the time this airs, a few of these things will have happened already, just to let you know. So we're not necessarily trying to be behind, but we're not trying to predict the future either. I'm going to talk sports today with the one and only Ant-Man of The Hustle Within and The AC Brown Show. But before we get started, I have to say happy Founders Day to my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated,
Oh
of
yeah,
which I am a
salute.
member.
All the Deltas,
Yes,
salute.
yes. And I got my little Delta stuff on.
Okay, you got the
I
elephant. You
can't
got
see
one
my
of the
t-shirt.
elephants. I know elephants y'all symbol, right?
Yeah, elephant
Yeah,
is sort of an
yeah.
unofficial affiliated thing with us. But
Okay.
yes, I am a member. I've been a member in April of this year. I'll be 15 years in.
Oh,
So
nice. Oh yeah, that's
I
nice.
love my sorority.
Now you did undergrad
I
you
did it grad.
grad chapter.
I
Okay.
did it grad. Where I was going to school,
Hmm.
some years it would be there, some years it wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
So, and I got really kind of focused in my studies at one point. So when I decided to do it, I was a grown woman working. But that was okay because I felt like I was hoping as if I still had something to offer the sorority.
Right.
And doing public service in the community is one of the things that Delta Sigma Theta is about. And I'm definitely about working in the community and trying to help others. So it's been a good match. It's a win-win. And I love DST. So it all works out. 108 years today, baby, we were founded. So kudos to all of my Divine Nine folk who have birthdays, so to speak, this month. But this is Delta's Day. So happy Founders Day to my sorors. So let's talk sports.
Okay. Sports.
Sports, baby,
I
sports.
love coming over here to talk sports.
Now, we got a lot going on, as I said in the intro.
Oh yeah. We got a
Um,
lot.
we'll get to the James Harden trade later.
Okay.
But right now, we've got a good playoff season in the NFL.
Well, I took a
This is
loss.
like
I took a loss.
unbelievable, right?
Yeah, but I took a loss. I took a loss. My Seahawks lost. You know,
Yeah,
we had a
they
good
did.
year. We had a good year. We was like missing a couple key pieces, and
Where do you think they were?
oh man,
Or where
definitely
to
needed.
start, right?
Yeah, definitely needed a better guard on the offensive line.
Hmm.
The defense should have been a little bit more active at the beginning of the year, and I mean they came on at the end of the year. I think we still need a corner. We still need a corner.
Who
Uh,
would you like to see in that position? If you could choose, who'd you like to see?
oh God. I just think we need somebody young on that corner. Like I think we just a draft pick. I think we bring one of these young boys coming out of college. Ohio State got a couple good corners coming out of
Hmm.
college.
Hmm.
Uh, Even Alabama got a couple. They just played the national championship game, so they got a couple good corners coming out and safeties. I think we got two good solid safeties, so we good.
Okay.
We good on the back end uh, with Adams. Definitely with Adams, and we're gonna probably get him an extension going into probably a 5-year extension. So we definitely need a corner. Griffin is good, but we also need somebody on the opposite side with him.
Yeah, a little help, right?
Yeah, a little help. We need a little help.
A little help.
The linebacker core is solid. So defense is pretty solid. What you gonna get with a salary cap in the NFL? So it's more of the offense, offensive line. I think we got some skilled players on offense. I think we just need some more players on offensive line. We would have made it.
Do you think that the salary cap is going to make a difference as to who you bring in? Some people say yes, some people say no.
Oh, of course, salary cap in NFL. I mean,
Right.
it's always been the issue for a lot of teams. I mean, it's only so many players you can give $100 million to, or $40 million to, or $50 million. So you have to bring in players with minimal salaries, and some players gonna make $5 million for 5 years. I mean, so the ones that's making the big money, you're not gonna have too many of them on the team. You can look at the top to bottom when you look at that
Yeah.
salary. You're gonna have a couple at the top, maybe 5 or 6 at the top, and the rest is going to be in the middle. And then you're going to have a lot at the end that's going to be getting the minimum. I mean, a couple 100,000, maybe $1 million. But yeah, so
The
you're going to definitely have
thousandaires,
some.
right?
Yeah. So your salary cap plays a bit because you might have to get rid of a player to bring in a better player
Right.
for more money. So you have to cut salary cap so you can keep it balanced. It's just like business. You gotta, sometimes in business you have to balance out your accounts. You gotta you
Yeah.
gotta balance out your balance sheet.
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of some of your wasting spending to make things happen for the future.
Well, speaking of futures, the last time the Cleveland Browns played in postseason
Oh,
was 2003.
yeah.
And George W. Bush was president,
Oh yeah.
the beginning of having sky marshals in planes,
Hmm.
the Iraq War, the Challenger blew up, disintegrated.
Wow.
So to look at Cleveland, they've always been perceived, especially when they're playing somebody like Pittsburgh, an easy win,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
They played Pittsburgh 17 games straight and lost 17 games straight with Pittsburgh in that series.
Right.
So, you know, Roethlisberger, I guess he felt like they could come out of it.
Right.
But Cleveland showed them a little something this time around, and they're
Yeah.
headed to the playoffs.
Cleveland was this time. You got to remember, this is the new Cleveland.
Yes,
Baltimore
it is.
Ravens is the original Cleveland Browns.
Right. So
So
there's always that little
yeah, so
pinch,
so
right?
this is the actual expansion team.
Mm-hmm.
This is the new Cleveland Browns. So they haven't been around as long as Baltimore Ravens. So when you really look at the numbers, Baltimore Ravens did some big things in the past. They used to be real good uh, when they was at Cleveland, and when they was traded, basically when they traded, they walked out of Cleveland and went to Baltimore. It was one of the biggest issues in the NFL because the owner just picked up one night and just walked out and moved to
Mm.
Baltimore. So when people talk about the Baltimore Ravens, you really talking about the Cleveland Browns, the original Cleveland Browns, because they've been
Uh-huh.
around as the original Cleveland Browns. So the new Cleveland Browns, this is good for them because it's a new chapter. It's a new
Yeah,
chapter to it's really a new one of the newest teams in the NFL.
in the NFL.
Yep.
So do you think we're looking at the beginning of the end for Ben as far as being quarterback at Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think they definitely gonna be drafting a quarterback this year. I think are either getting a pretty decent because there's some decent quarterbacks. I mean, even Cam Newton's gonna be out there. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's some
wish he would
decent
stay in.
quarterbacks.
I wish he would stay. I wish he would stay with Belichick because I think he'll learn a lot.
Yeah, he
You
needs,
know,
but
because he's got the talent. It's just that somebody's got to be patient enough to work with him and build a team around him. And
right,
nobody's doing that, and it's unfortunate because he's not going to get any younger,
right,
and so consequently, there needs to be somebody who'll say, okay, you had a tough season, you're coming in, it's COVID, you know, we're just beginning to kind of like get the groove of being in this offense, in this defense.
but you got to
And
remember,
yet still,
Belichick is a win now coach.
yeah.
He's not one of
Well,
them
well,
coaches like he's really not one of them coaches that's going to develop you. He wants you to come in, learn that system, and go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Cam is one of the. You got quarterbacks that learn quick, like a
Yeah.
Tom Brady. Like a Tom Brady learned that system because he was a part of that system for what
Right.
18, 19 years.
Right.
So for him to step into it, because any other quarterback to step into a New England system is different. It's going to be different for them because they got play on top of plays. They got
Mm-hmm.
plays for other plays. So when you read that playbook, they said look like
Besides them cheating.
yeah. Look, their playbook look like a telephone book times 4. So they
Yeah.
say
Yeah,
their
they do.
playbooks is like this.
Yeah.
So when you read in one play, it's like 18 different plays for that one play, the audible.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think Cam really needed to this offseason he really needs to study if he's going to be with New England that playbook and practice that playbook with some of the receivers and some of his skill players. Then
Yeah.
I think he'll have a good season because he started off with a good season,
He
but they
did.
kept it simple. But then they started trying to get more technical because at one point in time they was talking about signing him for another $150 million or something,
Right.
and
Right.
then they pulled that back real quick after Game 5. When they went into the Game 5, they was like, "Wait a minute, nah, he's not ready. We're not giving him this type of money yet."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
And,
I don't know. Yeah,
but I hope they keep him. I hope they keep him. It looks like Ben Roethlisberger is having a difficulty when it comes to depth of the field, right?
right.
Because he had 4 interceptions. Did he have 4 interceptions this past week in this game? I
Yeah,
think he did.
yeah, I think it was like 3 or 4. It was something, but he had like 500 yards too.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, listen,
yeah,
he's that guy. He
yeah.
can put that ball in there. But it seems that this time around, it wasn't enough.
Right.
It wasn't enough. And Cleveland's defense really rocked the house on them, on Pittsburgh. They
So
really got
who's
the
your
best of
pick
them.
for the Super Bowl? Who you think gonna be in the Super Bowl?
This is hard. You know why? Because Tom Brady's back in the playoffs.
Okay, well,
So that's a hard call. I mean, I think I think uh I think it's Kansas City again.
okay.
They're young, they're not injured. Patrick Mahomes is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
He can read that field. He can run with the ball. He's all kinds of threats. You hear people say a double threat or a triple threat. He's all kinds of threats because he just moves. He can see that field. He has an instinct as to where to go, and he's quick on his feet.
Right. Quick thinker. Yeah.
Yeah, he's quick on his feet and physically. Like instead of him taking 2 steps back, he can take anywhere from 3 to 4 steps back, which makes it difficult for a defense to get to him because of the way he moves, because of his foot movement. But this is hard because the Bills are good. Buffalo Bills are kind of incredible right now.
Yeah. Hey, that's my team. That's my sleepers.
Is that who you are? You going with them? You
I'm.
choosing them?
I only time. Okay, they're the only complete team that can beat Kansas City
Now, what do you
in
mean by
person.
complete? What do you mean by complete?
I mean, in all facets of the game, special teams, defense, offense. They got the skill players. They got the running game. They got the quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they got the legacy. I think they one of the teams that need it. They one of the teams that have to get out here and get it this time because they are they are one of these teams that went out and lost the Super Bowl 4 times in a row. So
Right.
they definitely need this. Their legacy need a championship or at least get to the Super Bowl again for
Mm-hmm.
them to keep with the momentum. And I think they got a built team. They got a good team from top to bottom. I think they built from top to bottom good. And now I think
Yeah.
that only other team that I've seen that could beat Kansas City would have been Tennessee, but it,
Yeah, but you know what?
styles make fights. Styles make
Yeah.
fights, just like boxing.
Yeah.
Styles make fights. Baltimore style was more equipped to take care of a Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was a matchup problem. So say if Tennessee would have went the route of playing Buffalo the first time, that's why they say win regular season, win as much as you can during the regular season, so
Right.
you can get them higher seeds because you never know who you're playing.
Right.
Styles make fights. Baltimore was a better style for Tennessee. Tennessee is a better style for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And and
Mm-hmm.
and Buffalo is they one of these equal teams that I feel like can be in the middle of the pack, just like New Orleans. They sort of
Yeah.
like New Orleans. They got
Yeah.
complete teams, but they can also lose.
But don't you think that even though it's the matchup, who's equal to who, which makes the better football game, like you just said, don't you think that in a wild card situation, you're kind of giving the person or the team the opportunity to actually show what they're made of?
Right.
And that's in a way why it's called a wild card, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you got folks who are capable. You
Right.
may never think of them as being somebody who you'd see in the playoffs.
Right.
And this gives them the opportunity to just push it up a notch one more time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, like I said, this is tough. This is tough. Tom Brady's in it. Drew Brees is in it.
I just
You
don't.
know,
I don't trust Tampa Bay this year. Tampa Bay is missing something. They got a good team, but they just missing something that they missing. I think it's coaching. I don't think the coach, Arians can coach Tom Brady. And when
hmm
you get deeper and deeper in the playoffs, Tom Brady want to take more control because he's a
yeah,
Super Bowl quarterback. He
right.
knows, and I think Watson also has that
Drew
mentality of
Brees.
like, yeah, he want to be that alpha male, also the coach. He's like, no, I'm coaching this team, so I think they got that inner alpha male connection going where somebody have to step up, and I don't know if Tom Brady is going to allow Arians to step up and be a real coach.
And let him coach the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady's going to be more of that leader where he want to coach and really put everything in play.
Well, it's been said that he let Aaron's do it, and they had an awful season, right?
Right,
Last year. And so now we're back and we're doing it Brady's way and we're winning.
right.
To me, it always seemed like something was missing with
Mm-hmm.
with New England. I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm not a New England fan because, quite honestly, the sports writers here drove me nuts. Brady couldn't sneeze without it being, on the news. There's nothing that he could do wrong. It's just Brady,
You
Brady,
got
Brady all the time.
you got six of them.
Yep. And that's to be respected because that's
Mm-hmm.
talent, right? And he's what, 43?
Yep, he's the goat. He's the goat.
So, it's to be respected. But I think, and going back to Cam Newton in this sense, it makes it harder for somebody like a Cam to come in when you're over here worshiping, idolizing this guy.
The goat. Yeah.
And you don't have, you're not preparing anybody else to come in. You're not looking for somebody that he can groom. So, it's Brady all the time. But I digress. I think what you see in Tampa, I saw in New England, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah,
I just
something. Yeah, they
felt
missing
like
something.
something was missing, and I think that's part of Brady's playbook. I think that's the way there's something there that without him it doesn't work.
And they can't beat New Orleans. New
You don't
Orleans
think
got that
so?
ticket. They cannot beat New Orleans. New Orleans is a better team. Um, and like New Orleans is one of the teams that is built from top to bottom, like Buffalo. They one of them teams that can run on you,
Yeah,
and they got a
yeah.
quarterback that can get. And they got a weird quarterback, Taysom Hill, that comes out and do weird stuff. He can play corner, he can play linebacker, he can play running back, he can do kickoff returns, he can do receiver. and then he can play quarterback. So you got
Yeah.
a player like that, and then you got
Yeah.
Drew Brees, which is, I mean, you can put him up there with GOAT status. I mean, he just don't have the championships like Tom Brady or
Right.
Peyton Manning,
Right.
but he's
Right.
right there in that I say top 3, top 5, at least top 5 quarterbacks
But
all time.
but then you got Aaron Rodgers against the Rams.
That's my pick. I got Green Bay against Kansas City for the
Okay.
Super Bowl. I just think because Buffalo is still young to the point where they still kind of they're still, and Kansas City have more experience being in the
Right.
Super Bowl because they were
Right.
just in the Super Bowl last year. So that's
Right.
why I'm giving
Right.
them the edge. And they got pretty much the same team. They got the same team that they won the Super Bowl
Yeah,
with
and
when there
they're
wasn't
healthy.
COVID. You gotta remember,
Right.
this same team won the Super Bowl when there wasn't COVID. This wasn't a COVID
Right.
season. So
Right.
that's why I give them the edge to get back, repeat. I see, I see Green Bay. You don't got home field advantage when you have to move outside of that cold weather in Green Bay
Right.
and go
Right.
to Tampa.
Right. It's a different ball game.
Different ball game.
But Aaron Rodgers is smart.
Oh yeah, he's good, very good.
He can throw that ball, but he's smart. Unlike most quarterbacks are very physical, right?
Right.
But there's something about how Aaron Rodgers reads the field that's different from every other quarterback that I've seen play.
Right.
And I just think that, and it's not to say that the other quarterbacks aren't smart, but I think sometimes he sees things that nobody else does. Brady used to be that way, but I think his playbook is so old that people kind of know what to expect when he does a certain thing. But I think with Aaron Rodgers, there's always a trick up his sleeve. There's always something that you don't know or notice that he can read real quick, and he'll decipher it, and he'll get you down the field. I think that's the danger with them. They can move down that field fast. He can move a team down the field in 3-4 minutes. And it's not even about getting you in field goal range. It's about actually getting in the end zone.
But I'll tell you this week that they playing the Rams. They beat us. They beat Seattle this past week. But the Rams has the number 1 defense in the NFL. And so when you go in with a team like that, and one side of the field is going to be shut down because Jalen Ramsey is going to shut down Adams. Adams will not be the Adams that you normally see with Green Bay. So I'm not going to say he's going to shut him down completely because, like you said, Aaron Rodgers is a different quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers get it out quicker. So he definitely a different type of quarterback. So yeah.
But do you think that it's going to be a low scoring game because they're so defense heavy? Because usually that's what happens. Anytime you have a team that has a number 1 defense and they're playing somebody like an Aaron Rodgers, the scores aren't very high.
Yeah, I say 17-13 or 21-14, something like that. It's going to be something where maybe like one score in the field goal, 10-point edge for Green Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, got a break. Come back on the other side. We're going to talk about the Harden trade and what's that going to look like for Brooklyn. And I got a short story to tell. We're not even going to get into it now, but I'll just make this one mention and then we'll move on.
All right.
You are watching The Collective here on WSME Enlightenment Radio. My name's Michelle Turner, Ant-Man of The Hustle Within, and the AC Brown Show is my guest, and we are talking sports. We'll be back after this.
All right.
Okay, so I gotta get through this, but let me just do the intro. This is the collective on SM Enlightenment Radio, smcrewradio.com, snenlightenmentmedia.com. That's who we are, and that's where we're broadcasting from. It's Michelle Turner. This is the collective. I am so happy to be talking sports. And with me to do the honors is Ant-Man, and he is with the Hustle Within and the AC Brown Show. So welcome back to the collective, Ant-Man. Appreciate you being here.
Oh yeah,
Fascinating
no problem.
discussion we just had about the NFL. So I'm gonna put this out there and then we're gonna move on. Doug Peterson was fired
Oh
from
yeah, oh yeah, Eagles. Oh yeah, that's
from,
my
from the
brother team.
Eagles.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything else to say about that. That's my team. You know, even my friends and family who were in Philly were like, "Ha, poor you being an Eagles fan." They gave
But
me
do
the
you think
business.
he's a Super Bowl winning coach?
Yeah, he did. He won. They won a couple of years ago.
That's what I'm saying. So think about it. No, it's rare that they fire a head coach. Just we fired our offensive coordinator for
Hmm.
Seattle. We fired, which was rare because I thought he opened up the playbook for Russell Wilson a lot
Yeah,
this year. I
yeah.
mean, he did call some shabby plays in the playoffs and towards the end of the year, but pretty much. I mean, he opened up the playbook for Russell Wilson, and I think Peterson is rare that them for a coach to be fired after winning a Super Bowl.
Well, you know, I think it's the frustration. I
Yeah,
think it's the frustration of the front office. The fact that, you know, unfortunately, the offense just couldn't keep up, you know, and they didn't really have anybody who was outstanding. And they had some injuries. So, you know,
they have to do some. Whatever coach they bring in, he's gonna have to make a he or she. Some of the, they might bring in a female coach.
yeah, it
Let's
would
bring
be
in a
nice to
female
see a
coach. I
woman
mean,
coach.
they opening up the NFL heavy like they
Yeah.
did with the Boston Red Sox with the minor league.
Yeah.
Uh, they brought in a female, and then she was African American. So
Yeah.
that the sports are opening up for females also.
Which is great, you
Yeah.
know, because there's a lot of us who support sports, professional sports. There are a lot of us who really believe and support our teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we buy merch. I mean, you know, we are into it just as much as the men are.
Right.
And you know, and we enjoy it. You know, there's always something where men are always surprised that a woman can actually sit down and talk about stats and her team and who's good and the coaches and all of that. But, you know, if you grow up in a household where sports is something that's always talked about, it's always on, you know, sooner or later, you're going to know something. You may
Right.
not like it, but you know what it is, you know what you're watching, and you might, you know, learn some things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I learned a whole lot, but I'm a different animal because my mom was a coach and my mom was a winning coach. So it's a little bit different. My father was a quarterback in college. So my growing up with sports is a lot different. You know, I mean, I grew up with golf, football, NBA, World Series, um, and what's the other one? Not so much soccer, but definitely golf
Right.
because my father was an avid golfer.
I just
So
got into golf probably like 3 years ago. I'm horrible, but I'm terrible. I mean, I'm terrible, but I did try it. I tried it out
yeah,
a few times. I went up to Grand
did you
Oaks.
like it?
I like riding the cart. I like riding the cart, and then
That's my thing. I like driving the car.
yeah, then I'll be throw my shoulder out of place when I'm trying to drive. So yeah, it's a little different. It's more of a technical game.
Yeah,
Technique.
yeah, it is technique. It is understanding what you're looking at
Yeah.
as far as how that golf course is built. Because you know, my dad used to tell me, he said, "Okay, look." on TV, that may look flat, but understand when you're out there on that course and you're looking at it and trying to decide where you're going to hit the ball to get it closest to the pin, or at least, to give you the yardage to get to, that particular green, it could be like this.
Yeah.
So you have to think in terms of the club and, how much yardage you're going to get out of it. And it's a lot. And I basically by osmosis, by hanging out with my dad, asking him questions when he was home, because once he retired, that was it. He was on the golf course all the time, and he would travel and play golf even.
Well,
And so,
it seemed like golf is very popular. I mean, Commander in Chief right now is he's
yeah,
very big in golf. I mean,
yeah,
he pretty much wiped out. He ended his presidency early to go play golf. So yeah, so golf is very big.
it is, and it's a sport that pays. And
Oh yeah,
so, one of the things that African Americans really need to do and continue to do. I think things died off with Tiger Woods.
oh, I
Once
respect him.
Tiger,
Just after I went and tried to play them 3 years ago, I respect him 100%. I said, man, I can see why he had all the back injuries and shoulder injuries,
right,
because me just learning how to drive, and I don't know how to drive, and he's a professional.
right.
So a professional, when you got to still get back surgeries and all these different injuries, yeah, I like to threw my shoulder out a couple times, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Oof. Yeah, it's
I played a couple more times, and I go out there and I just like to drive the golf cart and putt. I like to putt though. I like to putt. I do
yeah,
all
I'm
that.
a good putter.
Yeah, I'm good
I'm
on
a
that.
good
I'm
putter.
good.
Oh man, yes, I can do that all day long. But to pick up that club and try to drive that ball,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Even
that's a
Top
good.
Golf, I'm not like I'm pretty decent in Top Golf. But I'm like, man, I'm like, good God, this is a whole different ball game compared to Top Golf.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It is. So I just think I'm hoping that Philadelphia takes a deep look at itself and really makes some good, solid decisions when it comes to who they're going to bring in as far as a coach and shape up the defense and the offense. As
Mm-hmm.
Stephen A. Smith says, you can get rid of the cheerleaders. Just start over again. Just start over. You're muted. Now I
Josh
got
Taylor. Yeah.
you. Okay. So James Harden finally got what he wanted today.
Right.
He is traded, and he is traded to the Nets. So he will be there with his boy Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Although Kyrie is hurt.
No, Kyrie just missing. He's not hurt.
What do you mean
left.
missing?
He's missing. They don't know. I mean, even the team don't really know where he's at.
Really? Because everything that I read was like they just said that he's been unavailable.
Right.
And I guess that means he's missing, because I didn't think about it. I'm just thinking, okay, well, maybe he's on the bench, or, he's not in a position to play right now.
Right.
But he's MIA.
MIA. He
Wow.
might be. He might be MIA. He might be in Miami. We don't know. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, but they got Harden, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, a good they had Russell Westbrook. I gotta say that 3 times fast. Russell Westbrook,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin Durant really, truly put OKC on the map. They were the ones that really made a difference in Kansas City. And I didn't understand why they split them up in the first place. So once he went to the Rockets, it just seemed that his whole demeanor changed. And like eventually he was carrying the team on his shoulders.
Right.
And so now, with him being back with Kevin Durant, we may see some real progress in the Nets. Not that the Nets have been a terrible team, you know, but that road in the East is always shut either by the Pacers or Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to get through Philly. You know,
Oh,
the
Philly
Celtics,
playing real good. They playing real good this year.
yeah. Well, the person who was with Philly had a relationship with Harden, and so
Oh yeah,
they
Morris.
originally were trying to build a deal. Philly was trying to build a deal around one of their people to get Harden there because this guy was with the Rockets. What is his name?
Maury.
Yes,
Yeah.
he has a solid relationship with him. And so he was trying to work a deal for Philadelphia, but it never came through and Indiana kind of stepped up.
Right.
So this deal means that is it the for that team trade with the Nets, Pacers and Cavaliers, it brings Olapidio or Oladipo. I
Yeah.
can't pronounce his
Yeah.
name. Yep, to Houston in his final year. Um, but again, they also get the first round draft picks.
Oh, they get a lot of them.
Yeah, they got four.
Yeah, they get a
Four
lot
of
of them.
them. Let me see. Yeah, Kyrie Irving's been out since January 5th.
Yeah, missing.
Yep. And
Oh man. Oh man, like
you're
I said, we
wrong,
don't know.
Doc.
He
You're
might be with
wrong.
Tyrone. He might be with Tyrone now. He might be with Tyrone from yeah. He might be with Tyrone.
Y'all just wrong. Y'all just wrong. Why you do that to that man?
Yeah, I don't know where Kyrie at. But he got a new tour. He got a new tour to play with him and James Harden. And
Yeah.
now, okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like they are now the team to beat in the East, or are they the team to beat in the NBA? Point blank.
Team to beat in the NBA.
Okay.
The
You
East
think
is
they can win?
stepping up
I
his
mean, I say
game.
you think they can win championship?
Yeah, I can
Is
see
that
them. They're
team?
definitely going to be in the playoffs. But see, coming out of the East, I think there's three teams that well, two that they really have to be aware of. The Knicks are playing well
Oh no,
for once, but we don't have to worry about them still.
no.
But coming
They
out
are.
of the East, they're going to be up against either Boston or Philadelphia. That's where
Milwaukee.
it's
I
going
still
to
got to
take
put
place.
Milwaukee in there a little bit too.
But Milwaukee's not East. Is Milwaukee part of the East?
Yeah, they part of the East. They part of the East. Milwaukee.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're gonna have I think you're gonna get more of a challenge out of Philly
Yeah.
because Philly's hungry. You know, Boston kind of takes it for granted until we get to just about the end of the season. And then they start to act like they're really interested in playing, at least to me anyway. But I think Philly's hungry. I think the person that was with the Rockets is going to be still a little myth that they did not have the opportunity to capitalize on having James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be after Brooklyn. They're going to be after them, and they're really going to play some tough games. I think that's in our future. But I also think too that I think Brooklyn is the team to beat. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. I'm a Lakers fan. So I want my Lakers back in it, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely. I think the Lakers definitely they doing right and they winning. They got Anthony Davis resting. They got LeBron resting, and they still winning.
yeah,
So Brooklyn can't do that right now. So maybe
no,
when
they
James
got to
Harden get
form.
over there, and James Harden really out of shape. He's not in shape right now.
Hmm,
He's not
that's
in shape.
something to consider. Yeah,
Yeah, so you got to remember he got to still get into game shape. So he still got maybe a good 10, 15 more games before he get into real NBA shape.
And that's gonna fall into almost playoffs.
And now you got Kyrie hanging with Tyrone Bigrams
Mm-hmm.
and, hanging in New York somewhere, with Dave Chappelle or somebody. He hanging somewhere. And, you know, you just don't know where this man's gonna be at. Like what's going on with his mind, like what his mindset is. And then you got a lot of the players. I think a lot of the teams are gonna really have issues when it comes to the season
How so?
because of COVID. Because a lot of teams now,
Yeah, games have been postponed right
yeah,
off the
and
bat.
players are saying they're not playing. They're not going to be treated like kids, or they
Right.
can't go hang with the other players, or they can't go to the restaurants. So teams are really getting to the point like, wait a minute now, we're not property, but they are.
Right.
They got
Yeah.
to remember they are property.
Yeah.
It's
They are.
investment. They investments. If
Right.
I'm investing $20 million into you, yeah, I'm gonna tell you like, hey, how
Right.
how you should be moving around. Because I'm not trying
So
to lose my $20 million investment.
right. 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 And I think for the most part, it'll be interesting to see whether they decide to get vaccinated, whether they're going to turn and go into a bubble again, or whether they're going to get vaccinated. Is the NBA and is all sports really going to ask athletes to get vaccinated so they'll have that little passport card?
Mm-hmm.
Because, bottom line is they're killing the profit. The profit is not there. No matter what they do, they might have stuff contracts left over as far as revenue um, from previous contracts that were coming in. But, you know, if this is a contract season, like if this were a new contract season, I don't know how much money anybody's making besides being on TV, you know. I just, you're not making, even though you're traveling and you may be on NBA League Pass, you're not bringing people into the forums, the stadiums, the gyms. So
Right.
you don't have that revenue.
Yeah. But
So I
that's just
think
a small part of the revenue for teams because they make most of their money from TV deals. I mean,
right.
point blank, the TV deals are $10 billion. You
Well,
know
that's
they.
what I said. You on NBA League,
Yeah, you got
League Pass,
ABC, NBC, uh,
ESPN.
TNT,
Yep.
TBS. I mean, they on every network you can think of, and then they got their own network, NBA TV. Like you said, they got $10 billion invested into team revenue, team sharing revenue. So when you as a player, they sign you to $130 million deal, like a James Harden or Kevin Durant. You get COVID, you can't play.
Right.
So now you got to sit out for 10 days. And then if you've been around players on that same team or other teams, now they have to sit out. So
Yeah.
that's what's going on now. And players are looking at it like, wait a minute, you knew we was gonna do this.
Right.
And they knew about this. The players and the collective bargaining agreement, they you
Yeah.
know, they all talked about this and said, hey, this is what's gonna happen. This is the COVID year. There's no more bubble. Since y'all don't want to do a bubble, we still, you gotta still be mindful that we are on a global pandemic. So
Right.
traveling is still part of it. People are still getting COVID twice, three times.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
matter. Like this is like the flu. You can keep getting it.
Well, I think too, when you start to talk about whether players are going to sit out a season or not, then the NBA has to go back to the drawing board and figure out how they are going to complete their season. And I
Right.
really think that they're going to ask players to be vaccinated.
Right.
I really do. I think that's what's going to happen.
They're gonna have
Um,
to.
yeah, because you're missing out too much. And you got to bring people back into the stadiums. You got to
It's
bring people
premature.
back into these things.
Only reason they haven't put it on the table now because it's so early
Mm,
and they don't know how it affects the body. That's the reason. Like everybody that's taking it right now, if you're taking the vaccine, I mean, it's hopefully it's saving lives, which I pray that it do. But
mm,
at the end, given day, this is still first of all, the vaccine was normally it takes 3 to 4 years to 5 years to complete a vaccine.
right.
They did the vaccine in under a year. So if you look at the whole breakdown of this vaccine, it was a rush vaccine. Every company jumped on the same bar, same wavelength,
Bandwagon.
and said, "Hey, let me put this vaccine out here and see what it does," because we don't know what the side effects in the future it may be for someone that took the vaccine, and that's
Hmm.
what the NBA, like you said, they invest in millions of dollars into these players, so they have to make sure that investment is protected by any
Well, I
means
mean,
necessary.
to the scientists' credit, there were platforms, they call them platforms, that they had already been working on with COVID.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize, because of course, in the beginning when this thing struck and you couldn't go anywhere, I was watching all these different things on COVID and how they were trying to put together a vaccine. And one of the things that they said is that the reason why it's called number 19 is because there's been so many strands before it, and that's the year.
Mm-hmm.
This is COVID in 2019, so therefore it's COVID-19.
Oh, and
So,
it's bad too. That's a
right.
bad. That's a bad 19. That's a bad one. Yeah.
So they have been working with all of the other COVIDs previously. So they had something to build on, which is that platform.
Right.
And so they rushed the process, but they definitely were on track with it.
Okay.
They knew what they were up against. It wasn't like this came out of the blue. They had been studying it. They had been putting different things together. And I think what happened was probably a bunch of scientists came together and said, okay, we know this much. We know this much. We know this works. We know this works, and put it together. So that's what we have now. Because if we had to wait for another year this vaccine to come out, humans would be wiped. I
Yeah.
think we definitely see a huge reduction of the human population as we know it. I think that was where we were bound because in LA somebody is dying like every 8 minutes of COVID.
Yeah. LA is bad. Like it's real bad.
Right now it's very bad.
It's very.
So
Like I
I
said,
can only see them. I can see the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, all of them not only requiring players to have that passport card that shows, yes, I've had the vaccine, but fans as well. So I think that's where we're headed in the future.
yeah.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast as usual.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you
Oh yeah.
so much for talking sports with me this evening. I'm
So you got the
hoping
Lakers.
that,
So you got the Lakers winning the NBA championship again, right? Or you got
oh yeah,
Brooklyn.
oh yeah,
But you saying Brooklyn and LA playing for the championship.
yep,
Okay. All
yep,
right.
I see that. But again, Stephon Curry's healthy. He's back.
Oh yeah, they need some more help though.
They need more help,
They
but
need a little bit more help. I mean, he got to score 70 points a game every night for them to win the championship. He's
but
gonna have
they,
to
they
score 70 points. I mean, he
yeah,
did
but he's
69. I think he did the 67, 69 just
yeah, he
recently.
did. I think it was 69
Yeah.
a
So
couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
But when they on, they're on. So
Hmm.
it's to be considered coming out of the West. But anyway, thank you again, Ant Man.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. I love
Thank
coming on here
you.
to talk sports.
I appreciate your time. Ant Man is someone who has been working on Enlightenment Radio He has a show called The Hustle Within,
Right.
and he's also a part of the AC Brown Show.
Right.
So I appreciate him greatly being a part of the collective.
Oh.
I'm Michelle
Right.
Turner. Thank you so much. Happy Founders Day to my sorors again. We'll catch you next week.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Good
guys.
night. Good night.